I had something happen to me the other day when I was dealing with a client situation that has not happened to me in the 5 years of me running my agency, my WordPress agency, Find a Tech, and I want to talk to you about it. So, my name is Mark Joseph Szymanski. This is MJSWP. Like I said, I've been running the WordPress agency for 5 years, and now I want to do a lot more to help other developers that are coming up and agency owners just chat about different topics, issues, things like that, things that I experience, things that you experience on a regular basis, talking with clients, all that will help you grow your business. That's my goal here. So, topic of today's video specifically to give you the high level is I made a video previously. I'll put a card somewhere or whatever about how we moved our domains from Google Domains to Cloudflare because Google Domains is RIP, dead. And the issue was I don't really necessarily want to put my clients' domains on Cloudflare because I feel like it's just going to cause a little bit of confusion, unnecessary like weirdness. Like they really don't know what Cloudflare is. They don't need to. I'm gonna put them on Cloudflare, but I'm not gonna have them register their domains on Cloudflare. I don't own my clients' domains. We can have a whole nother video on that topic. But specifically, I want to talk about what happened here when I recommended another domain registrar, and I've never had this situation happen. I recommended that a client move their domain name over to Namecheap. Now, the reason I did that was because I've used Namecheap a few other times. It seems really like super simple. It literally is cheap. It's about $15 or $16 as compared to like GoDaddy or whatever. I've heard of Pork Bun. If I was like hosting somewhere other than Cloudflare, I'd probably consider Pork Bun, but I figured just like Namecheap is fine. I don't really want to go to GoDaddy if I don't have to. I don't want to give them any more money or recommend anybody give them any more money. So Namecheap was the way I was going to go. Again, we could have a different conversation about that. But this is specific to Namecheap, so that'll be in the title and this will be what this is about. I've never had a situation where there is like a banned or trademark type infringement thing going on in domain. I'm going to switch my screen over here. I'm going to kind of show you what I see, show you what I mean. I'll go through a couple things just so we can kind of like be on the same page. Because you're probably in this situation if you found this video, so I want to be as quick as possible and look for chapters in the bottom as well. What happened? I was trying to transfer in this domain from Google Domains. So I went over to Namecheap's website, made an account and everything like that, logged in, went to transfers, transfer to us, transfer domains. Down here on the bottom, I already put this in here before we started the video, but I'm using this as the example just to kind of, like hide the stuff that I was actually doing here. But you could probably figure it out if you wanted to. But the point is, like, envision a domain like this. Let's say your client had a domain that was apple-marketing.com, right? What happens here is like this is actually registered, somewhere else, right? But I put in my client's domain name there, and it was exactly what I would see. It would say Google Domains, it's unlocked. We can click on the, confirm that, and then put the auth code in, add it to cart, boom. Should be like a 3-second process. What happens though, and I'm going to switch to another like window here in a second to show you. When you click add to cart on that, which I don't think it's going to work now because I don't have this auth code, and this isn't even my domain. This is just an example. But let me show you what happens because I'm going to go over to a domain name search, and I'm going to put this Apple Marketing. I'm going to put a 1 on it because this one isn't registered. But again, envision that your company, like a company that you're working with, what actually happened was the word Apple that I'm switching out. Let's say your client's name was John Apple. Okay. I know this is kind of convoluted, but imagine you have a client named John Apple, and they have a company called Apple Marketing. Okay, so they own the domain already on Google Domains, apple-marketing.com, right? So when we tried to transfer this over here, I'm going to search this, and I'm going to give you the same type of experience here. Imagine we were transferring this. Watch what happens when I go to register a domain name like this. It's like it didn't go to the cart. It has this extra check mark here now. It looks like I have to contact support or something weird. And it says this domain contains restricted phrases and can't be self-registered. Please contact our support to see if we can register it for you manually. Now, again, I wasn't registering, I was transferring, but that same thing happened and there was no indication of that. And I was like, well, why is this not working? So I reach out to support and I say to them, hey, I'm trying to transfer this in. It's not working. I've just transferred recent domains in, with no problem. What's going on? And I'm not going to show you the full, chat and everything like that, but this is basically some of the things that you can expect to happen to you if you're in this situation And if it happens to you, because again, there's literally like no information about this other than like maybe if you're registering, but I was transferring, so I got none of that information. This is like the only support article that I could really find. And I don't think this is a new thing. I think they've been doing this for a while, but I've never heard of anybody do this. And I've only seen a couple things about Namecheap doing this on here. So basically what you're going to expect though, if you go on and this happens to you, you're going to go into the live chat, tell them what's going on or whatever. And then they're going to say like, thank you. We try to prevent abusive domain transfers and reduce internet fraud. Some of the domain that you want to move in have combinations and keywords. In that case, it was like Apple, right? Illegal activity, trademark infringement, which it's not because I'll get to that. So unfortunately, our system has detected that your chosen domain contains one of the keywords that are automatically banned and therefore blocked to transfer. We can whitelist the domain for you manually if the appropriate department like investigates and does whatever it needs to do there. And then they ask you like 2 questions. Like, firstly, could you share for what purpose your website is? And in this case, it was just like a copywriting website, like a marketing copywriting website. It has nothing to do with the Apple brand or, the associated brand or whatever, right? Like that would be your client. It has nothing to do with manufacturing phones or other whatever, right? So that's not trademark infringement. And then over here, this was another piece where it was like, can you confirm that you understand the following? Now, this scared the shit out of me. Okay, I was in this chat with these people from my client's account on Namecheap, and they say, if the case is proven to be trademark infringement or if it's used for illicit activities, you run the risk of losing the domain with no possibility of a refund. It's standard procedure for all domains that are banned in our system. Furthermore, it won't be possible to check of the whitelisting without your kind cooperation. So you have to say like, yes, I agree to that, and then do that. Now, that's just like a scare tactic. And again, this all worked out. So I'm just kind of giving the context here. But that's like, I get what they're doing there. And I appreciate this to a certain extent, but it's also like kind of ridiculous because I've never heard of any other domain registrar do this. And if I'm like completely just ignorant to that and every domain registrar does this, then let me know. But I've never heard of any domain registrar go to this length and say these types of things. And which doesn't even make sense because they're not going to be able to take your domain name if it's registered somewhere. I mean, that doesn't even make any sense. But anyway, in this case, like the actual use of that website had nothing to do with, again, in our case, like Apple, right? So it was just all very confusing. So at this point, I went to the client and I was like, hey, are you cool with me trying to do this? Because like I don't think there's going to be any problems here, but this was like the weirdest thing I've ever experienced. And I wanted to share this with you guys because I don't know if anybody else has ever gone through this. And they were like, yeah, that's fine. If we need to give them any LLC documentation or anything like that, we can do that. And so what ended up happening was I went back to the chat. I think I'm pretty much done here with these. I went back to the chat again for like a 3rd time or something. And I was like, hey, all right, well, here's the support ticket. Like, let's get this done. And as soon as I brought that support ticket up, like there's another screenshot that I don't have where they literally said, unfortunately, your domain name cannot be transferred because it infringes on trademark. And I'm like, what? Like, you don't even, like, you haven't even looked into this at all. You don't know that that's the case because that's not what trademark infringement is. It's like you have to be like operating in the same industry as the thing that you are saying to be like almost trying to spoof a brand or, in Apple's case, like you can't spin up another technology company named Apple. It's not like that. You could make like clothes. Well, I'm not, that's a little ambiguous, but you could make like other industries with Apple, but you can't, it's trademark is like industry specific, like classes and all that sort of stuff. I've actually made videos on that on another channel, but just look into that if that explanation wasn't good enough, because I'm not a lawyer, but I'm just saying. Long story short, I end up saying that, and I was like, is there, like, how are we going to progress this? Is there any way that we can do this? And they're like, hold on, 10 minutes or whatever like that to transfer me to like the 3rd person or whatever in that chat. And they said, ultimately, do you have one of these 3 items, which was like LLC papers or partnership papers or like a recent bank statement with like the company on it? I didn't even end up sending that. I ended up sending the EIN paperwork that my client forwarded to me. And after like an hour or whatever, they were like, they got an email and they're like, yep, that's fine. It's whitelisted, whatever. So, I mean, again, hopefully if you're in this situation, you just contact them. And if you're actually not doing anything to infringe on trademark, it should be okay. But if nothing else, I just wanted this to kind of be like a story for you guys to like think about. And if you ever have to deal with Namecheap and it's anything close to that, like you're not confused as hell. Because I probably spent like an hour or 2 trying to figure out what the actual issue is. because I thought it was something on my end. Then I was like chatting with them, and it was just like a lot of back and forth. So if you ever have this situation, the bottom line, skip to this part if you actually just wanted an answer. I'll put a thing in the chapters. Just literally reach out to them, tell them you're not infringing on trademark, and tell them like whatever they need. Like if you need to send them the LLC paperwork or whatever, and just get that through the chat, and then hopefully in an hour or so they'll whitelist it, and then you'll be good to go. Realistically, it's not that big of an issue, but when there's not enough information out there, that's literally what I just wanted this video to be. Just give you some context, give you a solution if you're looking for that, and that's it. So hopefully this was helpful. That was a fun day that I had yesterday dealing with that, so hopefully you laugh at my pain a little bit there. But yeah, I appreciate you guys tuning in as always. Hopefully this was somewhat informative and valuable. I greatly appreciate it, like I said, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.